The auction block in Santa Fe had seen many shameful things, but today's spectacle was particularly cruel. 23 Apache prisoners stood in chains, captured during the recent raids and brought here to be sold into servitude. The territorial law permitted it, called it indenture to make it sound more civilized, but everyone knew what it really was. Slavery by another name. Marcus Webb stood at the back of the crowd, his jaw tight with disgust. He'd come to town for supplies, not to witness this horror, but the auction was blocking the main street and he'd been unable to avoid it. Around him, ranchers and mine owners bid eagerly, calculating the value of human labor with the same cold assessment they'd use for livestock. One by one, the prisoners were sold. Young men went for the highest prices, destined for brutal work in the silver mines. Women disappeared into households where their fate would likely be even worse. Children were snatched up by families claiming they'd be civilized and educated, though Marcus knew most would simply become unpaid servants. As the afternoon wore on, the crowd began to thin. The best specimens, as the auctioneer callously called them, were already sold. Only one prisoner remained on the block, and Marcus understood immediately why no one had bid. She was older than the others, perhaps 40 years old, with iron gray streaking her long black hair. Her left arm hung useless at her side, clearly broken at some point and healed wrong. She stood with a pronounced limp, favoring her right leg. Her face was scarred, one eye clouded with partial blindness. She looked like she'd been through a war and lost. "Now, gentlemen," the auctioneer said, his enthusiasm notably diminished, "we have one more. This here squaw ain't much to look at, I'll grant you, but she can still work. Good for basic labor, cooking, cleaning. I'll start the bidding at $50. Silence. The remaining crowd shuffled uncomfortably. $50 was already too much for someone so obviously damaged. $40. More silence. Someone laughed. 30? Come on now, gentlemen. She's Apache, they're tough as nails. She'll work till she drops. She looks like she already did drop, someone called out, generating more laughter. The woman on the block never flinched. Her good eye stared straight ahead, her scarred face expressionless. She'd learned long ago that showing pain only encouraged cruelty. Marcus found himself studying her, seeing past the damage to something else. Pride. Dignity. An unbroken spirit despite a broken body. $20, the auctioneer said desperately. Surely someone will give me $20. Nothing. $10. Final offer before I turn her over to the territorial prison. Prison meant death. Everyone knew the conditions in those places. The old and infirm lasted maybe a month before disease or brutality finished them. Marcus saw the knowledge in the woman's eye, saw her accept her fate with the same stoic silence she'd maintained throughout this degrading process. He didn't plan to speak, hadn't intended to participate in this obscene transaction. But his mouth opened anyway, and words came out that surprised even him. $25. Every head turned. The auctioneer's face lit up with greedy relief. $25, do I hear 30? Going once, going twice, sold, to the gentleman in the back. Come collect your property, sir. Marcus pushed through the crowd, feeling their curious and contemptuous stares. He knew what they were thinking, that he was a fool, throwing away good money on worthless merchandise, that he probably had unsavory intentions, that no sane man would make such a purchase. Let them think what they wanted. He paid the auctioneer and signed the required papers, his hand shaking slightly as he wrote his name. The document granted him legal ownership of another human being for a period of 7 years, after which he would supposedly be freed. Marcus wanted to burn it right there, but he forced himself to fold it carefully and put it in his pocket. "She's all yours," the auctioneer said, handing Marcus a key to the shackles. "Good luck with her. That one's got a mean streak. 3 different buyers returned her before they brought her here. Marcus ignored him and approached the woman. Up close, he could see more details. The scars on her face were deliberate, patterns cut into her skin in some Apache ritual or punishment. Her damaged arm had been set badly, probably without medical care. Her clouded eye showed evidence of an old injury, possibly a blow to the head. "I'm going to unlock these," Marcus said quietly. "I'm not going to hurt you. Do you understand English?" She stared at him with her good eye, unreadable. Marcus unlocked the shackles anyway, letting them fall to the ground. "Can you walk? My wagon is down the street." For a long moment, she didn't move. Then, slowly, she nodded and took a step. The limp was severe, and Marcus instinctively reached out to steady her. She jerked away from his touch, her body tensing. "I'm sorry," he said, raising his hands. "I won't touch you without permission. Take your time." The walk to his wagon took 10 agonizing minutes. The woman moved slowly, painfully, but with stubborn determination. People stared and whispered as they passed. Marcus heard the comments, the crude jokes, the speculation about what he planned to do with his worthless purchase. When they finally reached the wagon, Marcus helped her up to the seat. This time she allowed it. He climbed up beside her and picked up the reins. "My name is Marcus Webb. I have a ranch about 15 miles from here. You'll be safe there. I promise you that." He paused. "What's your name?" She turned that penetrating, one-eyed stare on him, studying him with unnerving intensity. When she finally spoke, her voice was raspy, as if she hadn't used it in a long time. "Naiche. My name is Naiche. It means mischief maker." A ghost of a smile crossed her scarred face. "My mother, she have good sense of humor." The ride to Marcus's ranch was silent except for the creak of wagon wheels and the steady clip of hooves on the dusty road. Marcus didn't try to force conversation, sensing that Naiche needed time to process her sudden change in circumstances. He stole glances at her occasionally, trying to imagine the story behind those scars, that broken arm, the limp that spoke of old pain. His ranch came into view as the sun began its descent toward the mountains. It wasn't much, just a small house, a barn, and a few outbuildings scattered across a modest piece of land. Marcus ran cattle, enough to make a living but nothing extravagant. He worked alone mostly, hiring help only during roundup season. "This is it," he said as they pulled up to the house. "Not fancy, but it's home." Naiche surveyed the property with her good eye, taking in every detail. Marcus saw her note the rifle by the door, the locked barn, the fence that could contain or exclude. She was calculating, assessing threats and escape routes. Smart woman. Marcus climbed down and offered his hand to help her. This time she took it, though her grip was tense, ready to pull away at any sign of danger. He led her inside to a house that was clean but sparse, furnished with only the essentials. "You can have the bedroom," Marcus said, gesturing to the only separate room. "I'll sleep out here by the fireplace." Naiche's eyebrow raised in surprise. "You give me bed? Your bed? You need it more than I do. Your leg needs rest, proper rest." "Why you do this? Why you buy me?" It was the question Marcus had been asking himself since his hand shot up at the auction. He moved to the window, staring out at the darkening landscape. "My father owned slaves," he said quietly, "back in Georgia, before the war. I was a boy, but I remember. I remember thinking it was wrong, that no person should own another. My father beat me for saying so." He touched his ribs unconsciously, where old scars still marked his skin. "When the war came, I fought for the North. My family disowned me, said I was a traitor." He turned back to Naiche. "After the war, I came west to get away from all that. Built this place with my own hands, lived free. Then today, I saw you on that block, and I saw all the same evil I thought I'd left behind. I couldn't walk away. I couldn't let you go to prison to die. So you buy me to save me? Nietzsche's voice was skeptical. White men always have noble reasons for chains. I bought you because it was the only way to get you off that block. But I'm not your master, Nietzsche. You're free to leave whenever you want. The document says 7 years of indenture, but I'll burn it right now if you want. You can walk out that door tonight. And go where? I am old woman with broken body. Soldiers hunt my people like animals. I have nowhere to go. Marcus pulled out the legal document and held it up. Then, stay here but not as property. Stay as a person who needs a safe place. Help me around the ranch if you're able and willing, but because you choose to, not because I own you. He walked to the fireplace and tossed the document into the flames. They both watched as the paper curled and blackened, as the words that claimed one human being owned another turned to ash. Now there's no legal record, Marcus said. If anyone asks, you're my hired hand. Equal partner in the ranch. We'll split everything 50-50. Nietzsche stared at the ashes, then at Marcus, her scarred face showing emotion for the first time. Disbelief, suspicion, and underneath it all, a desperate, dangerous hope. You are fool, she said finally. Been called worse. Why you really do this? Men do not help without wanting something. Marcus met her gaze steadily. My wife died 2 years ago. Cholera. We had no children. Since then, I've been going through the motions, just existing. Today, when I saw you on that block, saw them laughing at you, treating you like garbage, something woke up in me. Anger. Shame. The feeling that if I didn't do something, anything, I'd be as guilty as them. He shook his head. Maybe I am a fool, but I'd rather be a fool than a coward. Nietzsche was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was softer, the defensive edge slightly dulled. You say I can leave, but if I stay, what you expect? Nothing you're not comfortable giving. If you can cook, that'd be helpful. If you can't, we'll figure it out together. If your arm and leg allow you to do other work, fine. If not, also fine. Mainly, I expect you to heal, to rest, to remember you're a human being, not property. And if someone comes asking about me, soldiers, authorities, then you're my hired hand who came looking for work. I'll swear to it. You lie to soldiers for me? Yes. You risk your freedom, maybe your life? Yes. Nietzsche studied him with that penetrating, one-eyed stare, as if trying to see into his soul. Whatever she found there must have satisfied her because she finally nodded slowly. I stay. For now. But Marcus Webb, if you betray me, if this is trick, I will kill you. My body is broken, but I still know how to kill. Fair enough. And I cook. My arm is weak, but I can still prepare food. I will not be burden. You wouldn't be a burden either way, but I appreciate it. That first night, they moved around each other carefully. Two damaged people trying to figure out how to coexist. Marcus showed Nietzsche the kitchen, the pantry, the well outside. She limped through the house, memorizing exits, testing windows, learning the territory. He understood. Trust wasn't given freely, especially when you'd been betrayed as many times as she clearly had. Marcus made up a bed by the fireplace while Nietzsche examined the bedroom with obvious discomfort. She'd probably never had a room of her own, certainly not a bed this comfortable. The door has no lock, Marcus said. But I give you my word. I won't enter without permission. Words are wind. Then time will prove me. I've got nothing but time. As Marcus settled by the fire and Nietzsche closed the bedroom door, he wondered what he'd really gotten himself into. He'd acted on impulse, on outrage, on some buried need to do something right in a world that felt increasingly wrong. Now he had an Apache woman in his house, a woman who'd been through horrors he could only imagine, who had every reason to distrust him, and no reason to stay. But she had stayed. For now, that was enough. The first week was an exercise in careful navigation. Naiche emerged each morning, cooked breakfast with surprising skill despite her damaged arm, then disappeared back into the bedroom or sat on the porch watching the horizon. She spoke little, answered questions with brief responses, and maintained a distance that Marcus respected. He went about his ranch work, giving her space, proving through action what his words had promised. He never entered her room, never made demands, never touched her without clear permission. Slowly, incrementally, the walls began to lower. On the 8th day, Marcus came in from mending fence to find Naiche in his small vegetable garden, pulling weeds with her good hand. She worked slowly, awkwardly, but with determination. "You don't have to do that," he said. "I know. I want to. Garden is dying from neglect. Vegetables need care. I'm not much of a gardener. I see this." There might have been humor in her voice. "You are better with cows than plants." It was the closest thing to a joke she'd made, and Marcus found himself smiling. "My wife used to say the same thing. You miss her. Every day. She was a good woman, kind, patient. She deserved better than dying young from disease." Naiche nodded, understanding grief intimately. "My husband, he died in raid 3 years ago. Soldiers shoot him while he protect children. My son, he die same day. 14 summers old." Her voice remained steady, but Marcus saw the pain in her eye. "After they die, I no longer care about living. Fought too hard, took too many risks. That's how I get broken. I was trying to die, but my body too stubborn to quit." "I'm glad it was stubborn." She looked at him. Really looked at him, and something shifted between them. A recognition of shared pain, of survival when you didn't want to survive, of continuing because the alternative meant letting your tormentors win. Over the following weeks, a routine developed. Naiche took over the cooking and the garden, transforming both. She knew plants Marcus had never seen, knew how to coax food from difficult soil, knew recipes that turned simple ingredients into memorable meals. The ranch hands who came for roundup were stunned by the quality of the food and treated Naiche with cautious respect. "That's one hell of a cook you got, Marcus," his foreman said. "Where'd you find her?" "She found me," Marcus replied, which was true enough. Marcus noticed other changes, too. Naiche was gaining weight, filling out the gaunt frame that spoke of years of insufficient food. Her limp was still pronounced, but she moved with slightly more ease. She smiled occasionally, usually at something in the garden or when a meal turned out particularly well. One evening in late summer, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Naiche spoke without prompting. "You know why I have these scars on my face? I figured you'd tell me if you wanted to. After my husband and son die, I do this to myself. Is Apache way of mourning. Cut face, cut hair, show grief to world. Other women, they stop after proper time. Me, I keep cutting. Pain in body seemed better than pain in heart." Marcus didn't know what to say, so he said nothing. Just listened. "Then soldiers catch me. I am glad."